All of these poems come from my latest book, Sovereign Chronicles. First is Nameless Day. The Celts divided the year into two halves, dark and light. Deeply tied to nature, they held trees in high regard. Their months were each associated with a particular tree. One day of the year, however, held no such association. December the 22nd, buried in the depth of winter, was known as Nameless Day and was linked to the goddess Morrigan, goddess of death. On this day, according to Jane Gifford in The Wisdom of the Trees, the people fasted to appease the goddess so that she would allow the sun to return. Here's my poem, Nameless Day, which looks from the darkness of our days to the potential hope in the light to come. The term Oran Mor mentioned is the Celtic great song of the universe, akin to the Shakespearean music of the spheres. Nameless Day. I shed darkness like a chimney at soot, disturbed by bell and book in the breaking light. My world is reinvented, colours deepen and the way clears. My steps strengthen in the new light as the earth turns again towards the spring's growing. I shed the pain that falls from me like water from a rock face. The river changes course, but in the elemental remains the sun. It sparkles in the falling light, flowing ever on. How dank the air, how hard the place to walk, and the pillow we lay our frigidity every night. We are on guard for our bits and pieces and our very selves as we lie in the chartered place for our sleep. So harsh a life, we seek relief wherever we can. The hands uplifted bear simple shrouds. The trees trail their leaves like tears upon the lamenting ground. The chartered streets have imprisoned the people who walk around in circles, going and going nowhere. The poor hold nothing in their hand and only fear in their hearts. The land lies fallow in the grip of harsh frost. Trees stand like in some anti-Eden, ice-laden, frozen. The sea grey, tumultuous under a baleful moon. The glories of the sacred grove, caught in a shifting mist, seem fallen away. We are in a liminal world caught in a hasp of the year, longing for renewal. It is here in the burgeoning dark that the brooding begins. Here the spark of life ruminates, ponders its next path in the fallow but ever fertile earth. In the fallowness there is rest and recuperation. The waning sun fades and we await its warm waxing. The mother, turning in her sleep, dreams of tomorrow. Nameless Day 2. As barred, I lie dreamlike in the incubating dark. Images flit through me, teeming, fleeting and fecund. The rough cast stone holds alertness. The dark falls to humming. The silence echoes. I remember the mother beating around me, and I'm myself remembered in this primal dark. My heart pulsing within, pristine awareness of a new creation. Springing from the still centre, sparked in the ubiquitous overflow of the throbbing plenitude of the sustaining mother. We rest under the moon, attentive to our intuition that speaks of the essential of our being, immortal in the penumbra of unknowing. In the liminal space of transformation, the energy shifts imperceptibly towards the coming light. the crepuscular moment which turns the pallid bright. Sinews of the heart, dreaming the eternal greensward, remembering the song, joining again in the chorus of the Oran Mor that envelops us, where truth is harmony and justice the rhythm. The light that seeps in is like a portal opening to life renewed. The next poem came to me after a tumultuous downpour of rain, and it is of the sun's returning. Ode to the Sun. I saw the sun run in the freedom of spumed clouds, a flashing wheel of fire, a burst of light diffusing all around, a tender hush of glory holding the world in seemingly perfect balance, save for the stars' static whirling. The sun did not spin, but could have been swimming. There was no spectrum, but it was contained in light. It was light to the power wonder. It was light magnified, a grace, a gift, a blessing to a soul filled with awe. This poem is written after watching a TV program, Investigative Report, on cameramen and women who work on the edge of battlefields and so forth. The camera. To put yourself out there, to bring back the images, to film the dead and dying, the pain and wretchedness, and yet remain as tearless and firm as the lens itself, is impossible. You must lie in the fetid, humid dark of Somalia or El Salvador, turning sweat wet between the sheets, and cry for yourself and humanity, the lens of your eye cleansed by the feeling of your heart. None can take on such grief and not be affected. The lens probes deeply into hate and depravity, travelling over a Via Dolorosa, burnt-out vehicles, shattered by clean technologies, a scrapyard in the desert. Where are the drivers now, so cleanly killed on the viewer? Harsh, burning hell, inferno of steel, rubber and flesh, people whose faces look like melted wax, skin running like rivulets, whose limbs lie twisted everywhere, tossed around like old dogs' bones. Shouts of agony cut through the shrieking air. Primal cries for mothers to come and bring succor in the torment. A poignant pain. A wish to reverse the impact and return all to the normality that was and can be no more. All this should accord, so much that even the lens weeps blood. The next poem is an elegy for my Uncle Michael Lafferty. Quotations from Yeats. The folly that man does or must suffer if he woos a proud woman not kindred of his soul. That's from Yeats's a dialogue of self and soul. And from the circus animal's desertion. A mound of refuse of the sweepings of a street, old kettles, old bottles, and a broken can, old iron, old bones, old rags, that raving slut who keeps the till. Now that my ladder's gone, I must lie down where all the ladders start, in the foul rag and bone shop of the heart. So for Michael. Off to war you went, desiring to do your duty or test your mettle against the fascist foe. You left behind the love of your life, the not long married wife, returning from that soulless strife to find the roving slut flowing. Your heart breaks into 1,000 shards, like a fallen, fragile vase upon a floor of stone. How to respond to the engulfing despond, the lack of peace of mind when off to war is amplified now in the despair of your dismantled, shattered heart. How did this happen? Lured by the flashing eye, the comely figure, the seeming gentleness, and the cooing murmur of Eros. Thrown now into purgatorial pain, no indulgence can alter. A lost paradise, all is fire. The ash falls slowly from the pyre of your heart. Your well